Hi, everybody. We are going to continue what we started before. We said that the sine of an angle is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So sine of B is equal AC over BC. Now, if I want to find sine of C is the opposite to C, which is AB, over the hypotenuse, which is BC. But where do I find AB over BC? It is cosine B. So we can conclude that sine C is equal to cosine B. Same thing for cosine C. Cosine C is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is AC over BC, but AC over BC is sine B. So we conclude that cosine C is equal to sine B. Now, the tangent of C is the opposite over the adjacent. It is AB over AC. Here we have AC over AB, so the tangent of C is the inverse of the tangent of B. We know that the acute angles of a right triangle are complementary. So the next property is if two angles are complementary, then the sine of one is the cosine of the other and vice versa. As we saw here, B and C are complementary. So we found out that the sine of C equal the cosine of B and vice versa. Now we have an example on this. We are given that sine A equal cosine B and that A and B are acute angles. And we know that we are also given that A is 4K minus 22 and B is 6K minus 13. And the question is calculate K. Now, since the sine of A equal cosine of B, then we can conclude that A and B are complementary. So their sum is 90. So we substitute A by 4K minus 22 plus B, which is equal 6K minus 13, which is equal to 90. And we solve for K, and K is 12.5. Now, another trigonometric ratio is the cotangent. The cotangent is the inverse of the tangent. So the cotangent is 1 over the tangent. And since the tangent is the sine over cosine, so the cotangent is the cosine over sine. Now, example. So if we are given the cotangent of an angle is 3, we have to calculate the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. From the formula of the cotangent is equal cosine x over sine x. And since the cotangent is 3, we replace the cotangent by 3. So 3 is equal cosine x over sine x. We cross multiply. So cosine x is 3 sine x. Now we have two unknowns. We don't know the sine, we don't know the cosine. So we have to find another equation. The other equation is sine squared x plus cosine squared x is 1. And we know that the cosine of x is 3 sine x. So we replace 3 sine squared x. When we square it, it becomes 9 sine squared x. So sine squared x plus 9 sine squared x is 1. So we add them. So we have 10 sine squared x is 1. So sine squared x is 1 over 10. So sine x, we square root and we rationalize. We get plus or minus radical 10 over 10. We reject the minus because the angles are acute. And since the cosine is 3 times the sine, then cosine x is 3 radical 10 over 10. And we know that the tangent is 1 over the cotangent. And since the cotangent is 3, then the tangent is 1 over